and then Ape team, Simian team, you guys can join your voice channel.
Hello. I'll be boldly leading this battle whilst feeling quite hungover. So hopefully things go fine.
You're not alone.
And hello, everybody, to the IKS live stream. This is Marshall. I'll be streaming from the player perspective. So, hello to everyone on YouTube. Today is our April Fool's game, and we're going to be doing some guerrilla warfare only with actual apes. I'm going to get real quiet now, and I'm going to allow the team to plan. Well, they're supposed to plan, but I think we're still getting organized.
I don't think we have too much information yet. I mean,
Right. Do you guys have the map up?
yeah, it's like the Mount Tamalpais State Park map.
Yes. All right. And let's see, there's different kinds of. Let's see here. All right.
I think we really just don't know how much of each thing we have currently.
I assume we'll probably have the most like vigilantes, and then like maybe some more police, and then some like a smaller amount of police, and then a even smaller amount of military.
Yeah, a little bit
Is
of
what we're
guard.
anticipating.
We can pre-build 5 defensive points.
Oh, I think that's only the guerrillas.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
the
the
apes
apes.
can rebuild the 5 defensive points.
So
Like, I think the idea of this scenario is that we're trying to wipe out the apes, and the apes are just trying to survive.
we are sweeping clear.
Oh, we're humans here.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
So, like, I guess the roles are still the same between like guerrilla force versus like invading force, but it's literal guerrillas that are being the guerrillas.
Yep.
It's a pretty fun idea for the April Fool's game. I like it.
Yeah.
If we want to go in and like get some tentative assignments out, I'd definitely like to be on the military part of the human side. I'll be Jeffrey D. Smiley unless someone else wants him.
I mean, you were originally the CIC, quote unquote French, so that makes sense. Oh, so this is like,
So it looks like your police are probably going to be your scouts.
Mm.
Yeah, because there's not much they can do.
Yeah. I'm okay with taking that assignment if that's what you wish.
Well, I mean, I think each, like, I guess, let's say, kind of faction of human has their own like CIC.
Yeah, and
so,
that's what he. Yeah, he said that there's like 3 CICs basically.
So yeah, like the police, CIC. Like, if you want to be Bill Scott, Marshall, you could be in charge of like the total like. I mean, I assume we're constant, so we might learn that like maybe these 2 police, right, since they're actually trained, are basically worth an entire mixed squad of vigilantes who are just kind of like angry people in trucks.
You might get SWAT like halfway through.
Yeah.
Now, I haven't seen the movie, so I don't know who the characters are, but
Oh, this isn't from the movie. Like, this takes place between, I think, the first and second movie.
oh, okay. I haven't seen the first or the second. I've seen the original Charlton Heston.
Mhm.
I was just offering to take what looked like a pretty weak unit, but scouting, which is something I know. I know cavalry tactics probably better than anything, but no big deal. I'll just take whatever.
Yeah, I mean, if you want the like a more of like reconnaissance kind of focused force, yeah, we could definitely ask James about that when he gets here, and you can get, Bill Scott or William Coleman, whichever one, sounds more up your alley.
So, based on where this actual park is in relative San Francisco, so will either be up on the Panoramic Highway or the Shoreline Highway from the east?
Yeah, I have no idea about the geography of this, and so I was kind of waiting. I wasn't like very vocal at first because I have no idea where we're coming in from, so I don't really know where
Yeah,
we're
I'm
trying to
just
reach either.
and that's just speculation based on this being slightly northwest of San Francisco.
I'd assume, yeah, maybe we would start like in the northwest then, and we'll sweep our way down.
Oh no, we're approaching from the southeast, east-southeast.
Okay.
And then your Highway 1 runs along pretty steep cliffs here next to the ocean.
Yeah.
So that Highway 1 is actually pretty treacherous ground.
Which they also might do it that we have some units along Highway 1 and then some units up on the Panoramic.
Mm-hmm. I wonder also, how the communications are going to work if like some of us have radios and can, more quickly communicate with each other. Also, I think a definite advantage we have over the apes is that it seems even our most common like basic units are all going to be like motorized, right? Well, their fastest units are just going to be on horses. So I mean, we're going to have like a very real mobility advantage.
I'm assuming they'll also not have a real mobility penalty just moving through woods, though.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll probably balance out.
Yeah, but I mean, like if you have to get away, right? Like I mean, I don't think any of us should be going too far from the highway if we can help it, or any of the roads. I mean, so I mean, it's gonna be tricky. I think, just the nature of fighting monkeys in the woods, but.
So, where do we think the apes are gonna make their defensive positions?
I have no idea.
It'll probably be more of a defense in depth kind of thing. They're probably going to have like layers.
Well, the Deer Park and the Coastal View Trail both make sense.
They can have 5 positions, and I think the most natural ones are these high grounds you see in the woods, particularly around the important crossroads going through.
Mm-hmm.
So we might want to plan for sending some guys to check out all of the hills, and then we can choose which one to attack.
We might also try to like funnel us into some like Deer Park Fire Road there, where you have like the slopes going down, and so if the major highways kind of blocked off, kind of leading us naturally to take a road like that, it would be easier to like ambush us on both sides with their heavier units like the Guerrillas and the armed apes.
So I threw up a stream of the map. This is the map, right? I have the correct map. Yep. These hills here. I get a more clear color maybe. Yeah, so these hills here kind of like look quite important to me because of the crossroads that they can strike, and they can retreat further up into the mountains, so on. So we might want to send someone to check out the trails up there.
I think it also depends though, because I mean their objective is like to defend their home, right? So they don't really have the the ability to like pick a single location they want to defend. Because like yeah, if they do retreat, we can still destroy their homes, right? And that they'll still like kind of lost the battle and have to leave. So I think that is one advantage we'll have is that they can't pick the most perfect spot to like set up a camp in and strike out from. They have a very static objective they have to defend.
Yeah, if they're not intending to strike our roads and escorts, then I think these other two hills, perhaps this third one too, particularly advantageous because our vehicle forces probably cannot scale these trails here to go up.
Well,
we'd probably have to dismount and walk up.
Like a dismount, yeah.
Into the woods here, but there's 5 spots in total. I think it makes sense that at least one of them is up. One is here. Maybe something like this. Do we have information about
I mean, I think
where they're coming or where we're coming in from? And
no, we don't have our avenue of approach. We don't have their estimated positions. We don't have really even how big our force is currently.
I mean, I don't really think they're going to have a static concentration of force. Like I really envision, like the apes are going to start out very spread out, and then they can kind of naturally kind of clump up on any weaker forces they find. Right, remain hidden, wait for targets of opportunity, clump up on them with superior numbers, and then spread back out again. Right.
Well, they've also been up here for a year, so we'll have to see what kind of intel we get.
I reckon they would want to do an active defense. They wouldn't want to sit around. They'd probably want to make counterattacks as we come up.
They might keep the like the gorillas, the mounted apes, and or like the gorillas and the armed apes, right, in a single location, and then keep like the spear apes and the mounted apes that I don't imagine would be much use in an actual fight spread out as like their eyes and ears. They'll stay hidden. They can send word to where our positions are, and they can set up an actual ambush or an attack with their more heavily armed units.
Might make sense to just go about this very orderly then, and kind of mass the forces, send scouts everywhere, and go from one location to the next in one big group. I don't know where we're coming from yet.
I think we can have the police like spread out a bit more, while the vigilantes kind of stay. Maybe if not in like one large group, but 2 large groups to go along each of the highways, and then the military can respond to wherever monkey activity is seen.
Yeah, it seems like there's really only 3 routes we can come in from, realistically. I think, if I read the brief, I didn't bring up the document.
It might also be of use to keep the police and the border squads together. The police can find them and then defend the border squads. You can set up and just kind of bomb suspected monkey locations.
Hey, they're not monkeys, they're gorillas, okay?
Are they like silverbacks or?
I think, have you seen Planet of the Apes?
Oh, they're
All
like
of the
that.
above.
Okay.
Yeah, all of the above.
They're like, it's a whole zoo of apes.
You're gonna need Jane
You got
Goodall.
Dr. Zayas is running around the woods with some mounted apes.
Do the monkeys have steroids?
I
No,
hope not.
they're normal
they got
apes
like
and normal
the
gorillas, but really smart.
they
They're
got like
smart.
the Alzheimer's medication, right? That's how they get smart in the movie. I think. Or am I wrong?
Something like that.
They test like Alzheimer's medication on the monkeys, and they become like super smart.
I mean,
And
the
then
original,
the
like,
humans,
the original movie,
spoilers, the humans become stupid.
the original
They
movie
lost
didn't
the
like
tropes.
focus so much on that. It was just kind of like, you had your astronauts show up on what they thought was just like a random alien planet, and then in the end they learned that no, this is Earth. The apes
Oh,
are
yeah.
smart now. The humans are gone. And it
I've
doesn't
only
really
seen
talk
the
about
new
why
one.
the apes are there.
The like most recent thing.
The original is good too. It's a very different movie than the new ones, like a completely different focus. And I think it's very good. It's
I don't know if you've seen the most, not to get too off track from the plan here, but the most recent one they put out, what was it, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, was really
I
good.
didn't like Kingdom.
Kinda, I was blown away.
I thought Kingdom was kind of boring.
Hello, James.
Oh. All right. Have you
We're
guys...
making very, very tentative plans with the limited info we have.
Sure. Have you sorted out who's who yet?
I asked if I could be Smiley, but nobody else has really put forward any requests. Marshall said he might want to be the police if they're, kind of like the scouts.
They can be. It's up to you guys. All right. Who would like to be the vigilante leader? Coleman. No one cares. I'm gonna
I'll
start
do it.
spending. Okay. All right, and then for the rest of you, you won't be the leaders, but who wants to be with the police, the military, or the vigilantes?
Military.
So AI is military. And I only had 3 main names, so you can pick whatever name you want for yourself or keep your own. KB and Dog Pilot.
Vigilante, maybe?
I'm fine with whatever KB takes. I don't have the time to play this entire game. I just want to sit with KB.
Well, then I'll put you together. I'm pretty sure you're still the same person, so that makes
Yeah,
sense.
it's got my voice changer turned on. I jump over it. It's
All
so
right.
people won't see Trespent on Kriegsspiel.
So only Woj ticks left, so I'll make him police then. Okay, you got about 10 more minutes to finalize your plans. Basically, you got 4 routes, 4 roads you can take initially. So you all go up the same road or take different roads. Everyone's got vehicles to take, so you'll be moving pretty quickly. Of course, just so you know, your cars won't be able to go off-road at all. So you've got the main roads and then some fire roads to take. But if you go off trail at all, it'll be on foot through the woods, which obviously be a lot slower.
Can we get like a more like a list of our actual like order of battle to see what we have before we like start splitting people up?
Yeah, it's on the document. I thought
Well, we have like the kinds of units we have, but not like the amount.
well, my bad. Let me do that right now. I was doing this late last night, so I probably intended to and forgot. All right. In your info channel, I've got your order battle. So the military has 3 Humvees, 3 rifle squads, 1 striker APC, and 1 mortar squad. The vigilantes, they got 5 groups and 5 trucks. They're just an assortment of dudes with guns. The police have 5 patrol cars and 5 officers. So you can.
I assume that the rifle squads will start out in the Humvees and they can dismount. Can the Humvees still move around and fight with the rifle squad dismounted, or does the rifle squad like count as the crew for the Humvee? Or they're not
They
passing?
need to be in the Well, no, I take that back. They could fight dismounted. So the Humvees and the Striker. The Humvee has a machine gun mounted. Striker APC has a grenade launcher. All the other trucks and police cars don't have mounted guns. And the striker APC is armored.
Wait, so the 4 vehicles can fight once the people inside get out?
Yes.
Okay. Because that was my biggest worry when I was thinking about, like, yeah, we would probably have to dismount to go through the woods, is that, like, we would leave them behind, go investigate something, and come back to, like, a bunch of trucks on fire.
Yeah, we'll say at least the driver and a gunner will.
And we're starting from the southeast, right around the Frank Valley Horse Camp, or somewhere around there.
Well, so there's 4 roads. If you look at the screenshot I shared in the talk, so you can take the road that goes by Slide Ranch, the road that goes by the Frank Valley Horse Camp. There's also 2 roads that come out on the east side of the map that go right by the visitor center. So any of those 4.
I think those 2 in the east make more sense.
Yeah, I don't want to split up too much, especially just like, I mean, I would like to have at least some eyes down in the south there, just so you know what's down there, but I don't want to split up too much to go investigate.
I think if we just send in all the police cars first to drive up the road, check things out, maybe set up like a ad hoc headquarters somewhere where they can attach scouting parties, would be good. Locate the enemy and concentrate on the peacemaker.
Are there any like fire roads? I think you call them, between the highway going by Slide Ranch and the one going by Frank Valley Horse Camp?
I mean, there sort of is. There's a right.
I mean, like there's a trail, but
I mean, right at the very southern edge of the map, there's maybe just a few feet between the roads. I don't know.
Yeah, so I guess that Coastal View Trail is fully black like a fire road, so I think you could take that and then the Deer Park Fire Road if you wanted.
And what about the one that's passing by the Moore Woods Visitor Center and the Panoramic Highway?
Yeah, if it's dotted or dashed, that's a trail.
Okay, so I guess not.
Yeah, you can't get to the Deer Park Fire Road from there unless you go further south.
Yeah. And so if we have people who start on the one on the Panoramic Highway, they're gonna have to go all the way north, wrap around west, and then come back down the Coastal View Trail to help anyone at the south. So
the vehicles will, at least.
Yeah. So yeah, I think we all should come in maybe on the Panoramic Highway, and then we can come back around south along the Coastal View Trail or something like that, looking for these damn dirty apes. Do you guys agree?
You said which
Yep.
come back along which trail?
So we'll drive up Panoramic Highway.
Mhm.
We can send out some scouts. We can set up our kind of HQ, our base camp or whatever around the mountain home, and then we'll scout north and westwards along the highway. And then we can send scouts along the Coastal View Trail once they reach the Panpole. Or maybe even we can set up at the Panpole, right? That can be our HQ instead, and then we can spread out radially from there with scouts. And
Oh, gotcha.
Does that make sense to you guys?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
All right, James. I think we're all going to be starting on coming up the Panoramic Highway. Police first, then vigilantes, then military in the back.
You guys will have access to radios the whole time. So if you do split up, you can talk in the planning channel basically.
Okay.
Just finishing the signing channels. Yeah, everyone's can see a channel now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go assign umpires and we'll get started.
So what it comes down to is we have small good scouts, we have vigilantes, which are basically militia, and then we have the military, which is going to be our heavy hitters.
Yeah, I'm thinking that once we reach the Pantel area, I'll just send out like a Humvee with a couple like 1 or 2 Humvees with the patrol teams, while the striker and the mortars wait there to then respond to any attacks.
Well, that's the whole thing, though, is I don't think they're going to be attacking at us unless they become very aggressive.
And in that case, they can call it up to help anybody that we find, right? Like we find a bunch of apes somewhere. Let's say we find a bunch of apes, around at the rock spring, right?
Mhm.
Then they can wait, try to stay hidden. Don't let the apes know we know where they are, and the military can then move in to actually wipe them out.
Yeah, I would suggest that wherever we find a concentration of them, we simply contain them and then use the mortars to destroy them.
Yeah, the mortars and the striker, I think.
Yeah, the mortars and the striker is going to be very effective. At least I'm assuming so.
How are these apes even gonna take out the striker? Like, are they gonna
I
flip
don't know, man. Hilda got in a tank in that one movie, man. That was kind of
it?
They're just gonna punch the armor out, could be.
Oh my god.
That's going to be some interesting description by the umpire if they manage to do that.
oh, it was such a dumb scene, man. He like rides through some machine gun fire to reach it, just completely unscathed.
Mhm.
Hey man, it was cool.
What I think
Yeah, it was cool. It was also dumb.
what I think is a
Hey.
genuine tactic they could use is this terrain is quite steep. Boulders,
Mhm.
rock slides, that sort of thing.
Mhm.
So, especially along the one, but just about anywhere, a lot of these trails are on treacherous ground, so they could just start a rock slide or logs or something and knock you off the road, then you're done.
Mhm.
Well, the good news is on the panoramic, we seem to be on the highest part all the way in. Yeah,
Until you
until
get
you hit
to,
the
yeah,
north,
yeah.
which I think that might be worth doing is at Mountain Home, dismount people and send them on Hogback and Matt Davis Trail, because then they can screen to the north.
Yeah, we can slow down once we reach there. Have some vigilantes and riflemen, like walk up the trail there.
It's actually really sad because it looks like there is actually a road that goes from Mountain Home up around, and then it goes to the north of the main road, up by like Nora Trail,
And
and
yeah,
then
it reaches like the West Point Inn.
it turns into Old Stage Road, which would have been very handy to use.
If I had to guess, just based upon what would be like the most likely place for animals to try and make like a hidden home, is it's going to be somewhere in like the south where like the trails are much more spread
Mic
out
off.
and they could have like stayed hidden more easily. I don't think they're going to be up in the north around the mountain theater where there's like so many trails right next to each other, all these like spots for tourists to like stop and camp and eat. They'd probably be somewhere between like Dipsy Trail and Coastal View Trail, or
Yeah.
between the Panoramic Highway and Matt Davis Trail in the west. We'll have to see.
Oh, did we lose Wojtek? Oh my gosh. All right, you there, Marshall, or did I make you run up the stairs again?
Mic on.
Well, literally, yes. I'm here.
Sorry. Well, your police buddy left,
Oh boy. Okay.
so you're on your own for the police. You do have a screenshot. So you got up early in the morning, ready to make some apes pay for what they've done, and made fairly good distance down the panoramic highway already. So you're somewhat deep into the woods. But as you come up to a valley, crossing a small stream, um, you are forced to stop because you've noticed a large tree has is blocking the road just across the bridge.
Classic.
Um, so
Well, I think we
you're obviously
radio it in and
okay. But you can do that in your planning channel. Let everyone know. What would you like to do? Right now, you're just sitting in the lead police car, looking at a
I
tree.
I think we back the hell up because this is classic ambush stuff.
All right, so back up as much as you can. Now the vigilantes aren't too far behind you, so you'll have to get everyone else to back up as well. But you start backing up. You got a little bit of room to do so.
All right, we do need to clear the roadblock, so we're going to have some officers do that on foot.
All right, so have some get out of their cars and start moving to clear it.
Yep, and watch for ambush. You know, maybe send a few officers up the hillside or actually down it. So wherever they're at, actually looks like up. So it's all we can do is watch and clear this roadblock. And man, this is gonna hurt.
All right, thank you.
So there's a roadblock here. You know, I just want to point out that everything in America started to go to crap the moment they shot Harambe. All right. Well, hello everybody. I'm in a channel on my own now, and I don't know if I can talk to other players right away. I'm assuming I cannot. But our forces have reached this point on the map. We're just going to drop a marker here. And of course, it smells like an ambush, right? So I've ordered our guys to back up as much as they can to hopefully get out of the kill zone. And maybe I'm lucky and it's not actually an ambush, but well, ambush. If it's not an ambush, it's a missed opportunity. So there we go. I'm going to pull up the YouTube stream here in a moment and see if there are any questions or comments. It's pretty early. It's 5:39 a.m. here on the Pacific Coast, literally, where I live. Actually live within a very short walk of Highway 1. I could walk there in just a matter of minutes. Let's see here. Go to the YouTube. And here it is. And do live chat. And I do not see any chat. I do see a couple viewers, and hello to you viewers. If you have any questions or comments, let me know. I have not seen the remake of the Planet of the Apes movies, but that's all right. It doesn't change the tactics, the decisions. You did see earlier that I put up the 3D Google Earth or Maps view, um, and that is good for some basic information. But the game map is this official map, and so if it's not on this official map, it doesn't exist for gameplay purposes. While there are a lot of small trails and fire roads, really small ones, um, it doesn't matter because you see all these little trails and all these little structures, overlooks. You see that, for example, here it's pretty clear and you have some wide open spaces where if you stood at the top you could see pretty far. But again, that does not matter. Stinson Beach here is a town, and then if you look at where we are, let's see here, right here, you see that it's not particularly, it's not this big dense woods that it appears to be on the map. It's a relatively small space. Um, Nonetheless, this isn't what we're using for actual gameplay. This is the
Somehow when you play with me, I always end up like I don't do it on purpose, but I end up getting assigned to you as the umpire. It's kind of
oh
funny.
boy.
I just
I
realized like every live game, I think I've been your umpire, and it's not on purpose. It just ended up that way. All right, so you give the command. Some officers, basically all the officers, exit their cars. Some head down the hill to the creek. Some start trudging up the hill. Um, so far, they've radioed back to you. No sightings of anything. You got a group of 6 or 8 officers. One of them happened to have a chainsaw in his car, so they started working on the 3 or 4 foot thick tree, cutting through it. That's going to take a little bit. You backed your cars almost as far as you can into the vigilante trucks, but no signs of any apes so far.
Okay, so is the roadblock clear?
No, not yet. Probably the next 20 minutes they'll have it cleared.
Okay. Um, yeah, I was looking at the Google Earth view, but explaining that that doesn't matter because this is the official game map. But it's pretty cool to look at it in real life. Um, no orders other than to continue what we're doing.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, James.
And did you let? Oh no, I'm looking the wrong. Did you let them know in the planning channel about the roadblock?
No, I didn't know if I was allowed to communicate or how that worked. I know I
Oh
have
yeah.
like a radio.
So
Uh,
your planning channel is your radio, so you can type in there and let everyone know what you run into.
can I post a screenshot?
No, because it's got to
I'll
be
do
written.
that. Okay.
Yep.
All right. We got to let our guys know. So we're going to let them know that there is a roadblock. All right, we sent our little radio report. Police roadblock panoramic trail above Fern Creek. 20 minutes to clear out. All right, so we don't have specific orders. Like, I haven't been given particular orders, but I can infer that our mission is essentially to scout. So we're probably going to proceed along this trail until we make contact. And then once we have contact, we will report that back and kind of stand back and provide support.
All right. Police Chief Scott. Um, the men are just about finished clearing that tree, so this next turn you'll be able to get going. Some of your officers have moved up the hill. They say they ran across a fire road and trail and found another road, but no signs of any apes or ambushes or anything. Same for those sent down to the creek.
Okay. Just a question. Can these trees be moved with a truck and chain or something?
Um,
A little faster than with a chainsaw?
now I mean, it's a big, long, heavy tree, so it's still got to be cut.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, no worries.
Yeah, but your guys are about done, so you'll be able to move again soon.
All right.
I assume once it's cleared, get back in the cars and move forward.
That's right. Yes. We want to space ourselves out though, because if we trigger an ambush, we don't want to lose the whole column.
That's smart. How much do you want to space?
About
Just like
five.
within.
Yeah, well, 5 or 6 car lengths. We're not always going to have sight as we go around some of these bends.
Okay. Got it. Okay.
Just move at a consistent speed. So,
Yeah, you
like.
guys are you're the guinea pig.
Mhm.
What do you call the people in the front of a column?
On point. Yeah,
On point.
yeah, we're on point.
The forlorn hope.
Yeah, yeah. The
The police are
skirmishers.
expendable.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
All right. So we're gonna wait for this tree to clear, folks, and then we're gonna proceed. Um, Unfortunately, we do expect casualties, but we will see what happens. Checking the live chat now. I don't see any comments, but hey, if you're viewing, feel free to say hello. People are wondering what's going on here. This is our April Fool's game. We play on the Saturday, usually closest to April Fool's or the first Saturday after April Fool's Day. And it's just one silly game we play each year. We also play kind of a horror themed Halloween game each year. So it's just a tradition that we have. in the IKS. Trying to remember some of our other April Fool's games. I cannot offhand. I know we had one where the game was set basically in the Stone Age, but then there was a UFO going around abducting people.
All right, Police Chief Marshal Scott. So the roadblock's cleared. Men get back in their cars and take off, leaving about 6 car lengths between you as you head across the bridge, over a ridge, across another bridge, and now heading deeper into the woods. You look side to side into the trees. Every movement a little bit spooky, but no sign of any apes yet.
All right. Well, we just continue. We haven't hit a turn off for decision point anyway, so we don't have much choice. All right, so this is about where we're at now, as according to my screenshot. I've not received any kind. Oh, well, we do have a reply. From the vigilantes offering to all right, yeah, offering to help clear the roadblock, but we've already got it clear. All right, I'm just letting them know that we cleared the roadblock and we're moving on. Need to. There we go. us there, so now I can monitor everything. All right. Part of me wonders if they didn't expect us to take this particular road, even though they had a roadblock there. I'm frankly shocked that they didn't have some kind of an ambush set up there. That seems like a missed opportunity, but might not be part of their strategy. That doesn't mean there won't be an ambush at the next roadblock. Right here, this particular switchback here looks like a pretty prime space for something. Almost want to look at that on Google Maps. Let's pull that over here. Right here. It doesn't look particularly treacherous in real life. Let's see here. Let's put it into 3D mode. The hillsides are definitely steep enough, but not particularly far. Like right here, you got a little rock fall. But otherwise, this is not nearly as treacherous as I would expect. But yeah, right here, little places where they could do some pretty serious harm. You know, it doesn't take a very big rock actually, or much, to wipe out a vehicle. Even a very large stone, small boulder, really, not much. Something that a person could handle, especially with the lever or some pre-planning. That would be enough to wipe a whole car out. It doesn't take that much. Unfortunately, on the map that we have, it just kind of suggests that all this is forest. So the assumption is that all of this is wooded, and therefore visibility and other things are not being are not very great. So you just have to cope with that as a struggle, as a problem, a Kriegsspiel problem. And that's what Kriegsspiel is about. It's about putting problems to players who then have to solve them as they go. One of the things that I wanted to say in the planning, I just didn't quite get a chance because of everything else I was trying to do, is they clearly have the advantage of interior lines. So they can operate from a central location, and as apes, they can move very quickly through trees and over land, we would assume, much more rapidly than we probably think.
Right.
And that.
Marshall's. Oh, sorry. All right, so you continue down the road, up and down a few more valleys, across a few more streams. You've not run into any more roadblocks or seen anything of note. You're heading up another hill now, and it's beautiful countryside. You've been stuck in San Francisco so long, you've forgotten what it's like to be out in the trees.
All
Any
right.
orders?
Oh, it looks like we did get around that little switchback then. We just continue, but who is behind us, like, and how far? I'm worried that we're getting ahead of ourselves here.
You radio back to your rearmost officers, and he says he can see the vigilante trucks close by when not on a turn, so they're not too far back.
All right, then we'll continue on. We'll continue on as far as Pantol.
As far as where?
Pantol, above the old mine trail and all that, where it's the intersection.
Oh,
Pantol
I see it.
Road.
Okay, going to
Yeah,
Pantel. Got it.
yeah, we're at Fort, so we'll stop there.
Got it.
All right, we're gonna let everyone know. All right. So one of the other problems that we're going to run into is this is sort of a like a Vietnam type problem. You know, you clear an area, but then you leave, and it's no longer clear. You know, the enemy could move right back into it. So it's kind of like trying to sweep water or something. You know, um, that's going to be a problem. So yeah, locally we're probably pretty close to invincible once whatever trap they have is sprung and settled. But aside from that, they could move around us like mist, and nothing we can do. You know, how do you capture the fog? At the same time, we can't let that mess with our head, because if you start doing that, you'll start to feel really frustrated and assume that there's no way to win. And that's not the case either. You win by wearing the enemy down and by identifying their nodes or centers of control and reducing those. So,
All right. Police Chief Scott, Marshal Scott.
mhm.
It's just as well as you gave orders to stop because there's another roadblock exactly where you wanted to stop anyway. So you head down the road, you reach that point, and you can see another tree blocking where there's a fork in the road heading west and south.
All right, you know what to do, what they say to do when you come to a fork in the road, right?
What do they say?
You take it.
All right. You gonna clear the tree again?
Yeah, we're going to clear it, but stay spaced out and look around. We'll look for signs of an ambush. Check for an ambush and then clear it. So essentially, secure the area around the fallen tree and then clear the tree.
Got it. Do you want the cars to move up closer or stay spaced as they are?
No, stay spaced.
Okay, got it.
Yep.
Thank you.
Hmm. All right. Remember that if you come to a fork in the road, you take it. Let's take a look at our screenshot here. Oh, we can open it in a browser now. There we are. Is that our latest screenshot? No, it's not. Didn't think it was. This is the latest one. So that's it right there where I basically drew the line and so on. So you see there's two blocks here. That's because there's a car underneath the piece. For simplicity, I'm just using one piece for everything. And I arranged them a little differently. Kriegsspiel style, I arranged them like this just to indicate they're moving along a road in column. So for fun, let's take a look at our Google Earth. And let's take a look at where we're at. This is quite a road nexus, and everything is kind of right here. I mean, there's even a parking lot here. And all these trails and stuff converge right here. So we actually have an opportunity to move down different roads. One of the problems, however, is that this is also a bottleneck. So it's an ideal ambush point. You know, no matter what trail or road you came down, this is where you're going to bottleneck. So something to keep in mind. Let's let everyone know. All right. The parking lot is not drawn on the map, but you can see here from the P that and the bus there that there's, well, that's really a camper. But yeah, there's parking here, and ranger station even.
All right, Police Chief Scott. Men get out of their cars. The ones with the chainsaw get to the road, look around, and then get to work cutting through the tree. Others kind of go off the road a little bit of ways. Make sure to clear the area. You have a tingling on the back of your neck like you're being watched, but you can't see anything as you peer into the dark woods. And that's about it. Should be cleared this next turn.
Okay, we're gonna hold here anyway. Make sure the parking lot, the ranger station, campground, restroom, all that stuff is swept. Send men out, you know, in pairs to check over all those places.
So check.
So right there where it says Pantol, there's a ranger station, campground.
Yep.
All that, yeah. So check all those things for signs of enemy inhabitation or use, whatever, disturbance.
Yep. Got it. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Right, I just noticed this thing's a little pixelated, but I think it has more to do with how much I've zoomed in and the fact that it's a bit of a screenshot. I wonder if I reduce its size if it looks any better. No, it doesn't. So, all right, not going to worry about it. All right, they're going to have that cleared. So we'll indicate that it's going to be cleared. All right, roadblock cleared. And then really, I think the next option is to start moving different directions here. All right, we're going to post that screenshot there. Yeah, so we need to sweep all of these different little roads and such. Kind of secure the road nexus here. I don't want to go too far because I don't know what the overall plan is, but I want to give us some options, making sure there's at least no roadblocks on these roads. Fanning out also ensures we're probably going to make contact with the enemy. Obviously, they have some sort of scouts from the feeling on the back of my neck, right? That could, of course, be the Empire just messing, or it could be them dropping a bit of a hint. And who knows what that represents, right? Maybe you smell something, or you caught sight of something out the corner of your eye, or who knows? Oh, looks like we have fighting. Oh boy. Okay. So never mind. No plan of battle survives first contact with the enemy. Looks like we're in combat.
All right, Police Chief Marshal Scott. All of a sudden, you hear a bunch of hooting and screaming and yelling coming from the woods to the right of the road. And out of nowhere, a mass of mostly chimpanzees, some orangutans, armed with spears, uh, charge out of the woods and straight at your men and police cars. The ones that had just barely cleared the roadblock start shooting at a bunch of apes. Some of them have guns and are shooting back at you. Most have the spears, but they're quickly overrunning your position, your cars. You get struck by a spear and injured, and forced back to the other side of the road. You hear on a lot of chatter on the radio, shots fired, as and can hear shooting further behind to the north. What are your orders?
Fall back.
All right, so head east off the road.
Well, fall back on the reserve. So the vigilantes are behind us, so fall back in that direction.
Towards the vigilantes, got it. Try and do it inside the police cars or just abandon?
Yeah, try to pull the police cars back too, but you can't fight very well from inside of a police car. So, but we don't want to leave those to the enemy either. All right, so we have a real dilemma here. When ambushed, the correct doctrine is to attack the ambush. But the problem is we are so few in number that attacking would probably be suicide. So now we're forced to fall back, and we need reserves to come up and relieve us. So my concern is not just losing my command, but also losing vehicles to the enemy, which we don't want to do. Whether those vehicles are stolen or destroyed, we don't want either scenario. So we want to fall back and try to protect those vehicles. That being the primary concern right now. So that's what we're doing as we try to escape what is obviously an ambush point, which we expected. So And it looks like the military has it looks like the military is going to move up. All right. So we have enemies here. They have spears. And then they have firearms here. So they're firing on us. And so what we're trying to do is retreat. And our military is trying to come up to engage. So that's the
Right.
plan there.
Police Chief Scott.
Mhm.
With desperate fighting, you managed to run down the road and are basically at the bridge now. Some of your officers have taken position behind some trees and are shooting at apes charging at them with spears. So you've got about 3 groups of officers around you that you can see, one in front of you, 2 behind. The rest you've lost track of. It's chaos further down the road. You hear gunfire still going on, but that quickly is silenced in the last 5 minutes. There's lots of apes shouting and hooting, and then it just kind of falls quiet again, eerie quiet. No chatter on the radio from those who were towards the front of the column. And there's at least 3 police patrol cars that are sitting on the road down in front of you that didn't make it back.
Are they
You can see
serviceable or are they just abandoned?
Well, they're abandoned by the men in the chaos, basically,
Yeah.
with apes swarming around them. So
Okay. All right. Establish a perimeter, and we're gonna have to wait for the cavalry to arrive and bail us out. So we hold position here, establish a perimeter, try to bring our other officers in. Just hold here and regroup.
thank you.
All right. Oh, let's go back to that screenshot. Let's verify where we're at. Yep, right there. Boot jack. So, more or less. All right. So all we can do is kind of hold here. There are enemies in proximity where we're at. Including the guerrillas, which apparently that's like their heavy infantry. So there are enemies around us more or less like this. Actually, no, the screenshot does not indicate that they are north of us or northwest of us. It indicates that they are really here. So we're in better shape than I assumed. And we have reinforcements coming in on our left as well. So on this trail here are the vigilantes coming. All right, so we'll just wait here and let them clear us out, clear a path.
All right, Police Chief Scott. So you and your 3 remaining groups of officers managed to form a new perimeter just on the north side of the creek. Even as you're setting up, a group of giant guerrillas come barreling down the road. Your officers managed to down 1 or 2, but the rest just keep coming. And now one of them managed to grab one of your officers and toss him like a rag doll. And they're kind of in the midst of the rest of them. So the rest of your men are shooting as best they can. But those guerrillas are pretty tough.
Wow, we got shotguns.
Yeah, and some of your officers might have shotguns.
Yeah, we need shotguns for this crap. So, yeah, keep shooting and fall back on the reserve. Hopefully, there's allies coming up. So,
Yeah, you can see the vigilantes. Actually, vigilantes are just to your west, and the military is coming up to your rear. Do you want to keep falling back behind them?
yeah, when they get here, though, we don't want to turn our backs to the enemy and run because we'll just die.
Yeah, understood.
So,
Okay.
okay. All right, so I don't know if I've permanently lost 2 other teams, but I have lost 1 officer, it seems. Even if he didn't die, he's certainly pretty badly injured. So, for all intents and purposes, that officer is no longer. The officer is a casualty. So, All right, let's check to see if there's any comments. Where is my YouTube? Here it is. No. Right there. All right. If you are just joining us, this is guerrilla warfare, but not with gorillas in the traditional sense, but Planet of the Apes guerrilla warfare. Today is our April Fool's game, which we do on the Saturday closest to April Fool's every year. And we were told this was going to be a Napoleonic guerrilla warfare scenario set in Spain during the Napoleonic Wars. So we all rushed to play, only to be told that it's actually not that kind of guerrilla warfare. And instead, we are northwest of San Francisco in the Muir Woods, and we are fighting Planet of the Apes, gorillas, and orangutans and chimpanzees. So here we are. I represent the human police. We have militia and military forces behind us, and we've been caught in a simian ambush. All right. We're being told to retreat and lure them into the counterattack if possible, which is effectively the order that I gave, but I don't want us to rout or to turn our backs to the enemy because that's when the killing really starts. So if you're going to withdraw, it has to be an orderly tactical withdrawal.
Marshal Scott,
Yes,
I hear that the gorillas are attacking. How many?
a lot. I don't have a number though. So it looks like one formation of them is present here. They
All right, well we're gonna wipe out those dirty apes, man. I'm here
All
with
right.
the borders.
Police Chief Scott, you fall back. The cavalry have arrived, and the military, some Humvees driving around your police cars. Take position, ready to shoot those guerrillas, but the guerrillas have pieced out before that happened. They basically fell back at the same time you did, disappearing into the woods to the south. So now you and your men are. You can see the Striker APC, the Humvees coming up by. The Vigilantes trucks are further behind, and it looks like they're on foot to your north, walking down that trail. You kind of lost sight of them in the woods. But no sounds of gunfire or anything anymore. It's all quiet. Just so you know, the last you saw of your abandoned police cars, the apes were turning them over on their heads, I guess to act as roadblocks, but they're upside down on the road now. Just so you know.
Okay, so we need to.
You guys just given the
Yeah, I gave it for
or the
both.
okay, great, thanks.
Okay, we need to regroup, take coffee and donuts, and once we regroup, we'll continue.
I'm thinking, you need an upgrade. You lost how many patrol cars?
2.
All right. I can't give you two. I can. Would it be possible, James, to have my rifleman ride on top of the APC? The mortar team's still inside the APC. Rifleman just like hanging on the edge. and like on top, and then
Yeah.
they can use my Humvee.
Sure.
All right. You should, yeah, since each police officer unit is just 2 officers, you should be able to fit 2 of them in the Humvee, I think.
Yeah, well,
So that-
we're down 1 officer at least. I don't know. Did we lose any other officers? Do we still have 9 officers, or are we down to 6 or 7 or
You're
what?
down to 6.
6, huh? Okay. All right. Well, I have 3 vehicles still, don't I?
You have 2 vehicles.
Okay, 6 officers, 2 vehicles. All right. Yes, we'll put 2 in the Humvee. All right.
And I mean, yeah, at least then you might have a little heavier firepower next time they try and attack you. But I
Right.
think we need to more closely integrate the police with the vigilantes or the military, because
Yeah. Now we
when you
have
get a little too
content.
far
Yeah.
ahead, I mean, I got slowed down before, dismounting to some guys up to scout the road, and so I was a bit too late to come here. And so I think there needs to be some heavier firepower up ahead with the scouts to deter this wanton aggression by the apes.
Right. All right. Where do you want to go next? I imagine we need to at least fight to Pantol, and then once we're there, there is a. I mean, it's just a nexus, so we can go all different directions there. So, what do you want to do? I don't know if we want to dilute our force at this point.
Yeah, I don't think we should. I think we should stay concentrated and maybe move at a slightly slower pace so we don't get stretched out again,
Yeah.
and regroup at Pantel.
All right. So
It looks
we'll.
like you're injured. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'll be fine. It's just a scratch. Nothing a donut won't fix.
All right.
Yeah.
I don't know about donuts, but we do have that MRE coffee powder. I don't know if you had it. It's awful, but it'll have to do.
Yeah. Well, really, do you have a jelly donut? One jelly donut.
We have synthetic jelly on hardtack. Is that close enough?
Do you have the jalapeno cheese?
We lost the last of those, a couple months into the apocalypse. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think we're just gonna regroup, get them into the Humvee, and have the infantry kind of wing it on the APC. And yeah, I guess we're gonna just move on ahead, maybe regroup at the boot jack instead, let everybody catch up and get remounted.
Yeah, no problem. All right. Yeah. So we're going to push forward to Pantol, but slow with the military behind.
What are you
And we're,
doing? Sorry. With the patrol cars on the road, I mean, you could kind of go around them, or with the Humvee, just push them off, really.
yeah, push them off. Push them off. If they
Let's
can't,
use the APC to push them off. I don't want any damage to the Humvee.
yeah, the problem with the Humvee is it's military grade, which doesn't mean what people assume.
Also, wait, James, instead of having the riflemen hang on the side of the APC, I'm gonna send them. Where's the Alpine Trail? Oh, okay, never mind. We're gonna have to once we get to the Alpine Trail, have them hop off the APC, and start scouting down the Alpine Trail to meet us at Panpole. Have them, maintain constant radio contact, so that the orders can, at a drop of a hat, stop the convoy, dismount, and give them some supportive fire if they need it.
I got it.
All right, thank you.
All right.
If worst comes to worst, I think we can just, we don't really need this forest, right? I mean, sure, it's yeah, God's creation, nature, it's very beautiful, but we can always just burn it and run away.
Yep, if we have to. Yeah. And this is California, so everything burns.
Oh, that is actually, yeah, that might spread a bit further than I intended.
Well. Yeah, we'd want to know which way the wind is blowing.
However, I mean, the fact that we met gorillas here makes you think that that they were trying to hide something over here. Maybe their home is somewhere in this area.
Yeah, they probably do have a base of operations somewhere. The thing is this here's a road nexus at Pantol, so it's
Mhm.
a natural bottleneck. So
Mhm.
it was a place where I expected an ambush, and in fact, I had guys scouting around, and that's when we got attacked.
Mm.
So my orders were to secure and then clear the ambush.
I'm really surprised. I'm trying to wrap my head thinking about like they had a roadblock on a hogback fire road. What could possibly be the point of that? There's nothing up there, you know. Maybe they're up there, right?
Yeah.
Around like the West Point end.
Well, wherever they have a roadblock, they probably have somebody watching,
Mhm.
and then they're just once they see us, they probably have a concentrated force they send out to attack.
Mhm.
So
Luckily, I think the two teams of riflemen is enough to like deter any attack that can be quickly put together, so they weren't affected by it. But
You guys are technically in separate vehicles, but we could leave you together for a turn.
uh,
Uh, so you take a couple minutes to make your new seating arrangements, and then get heading down the road again, leasing one of the Humvees. And then the two other patrol cars, the APC takes the lead, pushes across the bridge, and is now clearing the road of the first patrol car. The rifle squad's hopped off and is now moving up that trail to the east. All is quiet. No sign of the apes anymore. And I think that's it. You can see another patrol car overturned further down the road. About it.
yeah, push forward to Pantol, and uh, is James still here? Yeah, he is. All right, push forward to Pantol. Put the Humvee second, not first, in our order of march.
Let the patrol car get up there.
Yeah. I don't want the Humvee to just get wiped out because it was in the front.
we got monkey IEDs now. We got to worry about.
Yeah.
James, when I was passing by the vigilante trucks before, were there any drivers left with them, or were they left completely by themselves?
I believe they're left by themselves.
All right, we got a possibility that the vigilantes are going to be on truck permanently from now on. If that's the case.
We got to
Of
watch
course,
out
you got.
for. Go ahead, James.
Oh, sorry. I guess AI is commanding the other two rifle squads, right?
Yeah, he should be coming up like the panoramic highway to meet up with us.
Yeah, we need to watch out for banana peels in the road.
Like Mario Kart.
Yeah, but that's
And
okay.
and
We
any
just
turtle shells.
yeah we
If you
just
see a
had
turtle shell, you're in trouble.
well yeah California tortoise is endangered. So but we've had our donuts, so we should be invincible for a little
Okay.
while.
After eating your jelly donut, your spear wound has sealed magically.
All right.
All right, looks like they found another ape position northwest of the pond hole on spur northwest.
All right. So yeah, they're up there towards
West
the old
northwest.
mine trail. They're up on that hill probably. I drop a few mortar rounds at the top of that old mine trail.
I thought that's going south from the pond hole, west northwest.
Yeah, it continues. It's up there. There's a ridge, a hill up there at the top to our northwest. Yeah, old mine trail. You see, above Pantol to the. It's really northwest of Pantol. right below easy grade trail. You see that? Oh, he's moved out. They moved him out. Well, all right. That's right. Drop a few mortar rounds. Actually, right here is probably an observation post. All right, so we have vigilantes and military to our front, so we're moving now almost into the rear. Let's take a look at.
All right, Police Chief Scott. So you let the patrol car get in front of your Humvee where you're located. So now you're in the middle of two patrol cars, military ahead. The column is pretty much slowed. You've cleared past the two patrol cars, but now the vigilantes are on foot but in the road. They're taking cover behind the other patrol car at the far end near the fork. And it's basically the columns come to a halt with the vigilantes blocking the way. And no sign of, no sounds of anything really. It's all quiet.
Okay. All right, then we're gonna push forward and resume our place in the lead. So,
So you're gonna drive past the APC and get in front.
is the road clear?
There's still the other one more overturned patrol car blocking.
All right, we need to
But-
wait for the road to be clear, but yeah, then we're gonna move to the front.
Okay. And then pretty soon you'll hit that fork. Where are you going at the fork?
We're gonna stop at the fork.
Okay, got it.
I need to confer and figure out where we want to go from there.
All right.
Okay, so just as I pointed out on the Google Earth, this here is a scenic point right here, ideal place for an observation post. So I read the map correctly, encouraging, but I don't control the mortars or anything, and at this point it may be that the enemy has moved off or that it's clear. So now we have to decide on our next move. And it's a pretty big decision because there's not many choices to our south, but to our north there's a lot. And so now it's a question of where are they at, man? We just have no way of knowing. We need a police helicopter. Gotta say, these are some of the fastest turns I've seen in a game, which is very encouraging. James is probably one of the best umpires on the planet, literally, and I'm not exaggerating. For Kriegsspiel, he's run so many games, way more than I have by now. He runs at least 1 or 2 games a week, I think, religiously, and he's done it now, I think, for a couple of years. It looks like we're getting a report. Just doing a 20-minute turn cycle, so every 20 minutes, every turn is 20 minutes. Okay, looks like we're still at the back of the column. So
All right. The military APC is still blocking the road, as are the vigilantes. So you weren't really able to move up. The you do see the mortar squad exit the APC. They get set up and they start sending rounds down south. And of course, you can hear the explosions hit far in the distance. Besides that, you're unable to move up till you got to get the military to get their APC to get out of the way or clear that patrol car. They're not really moving. And you do hear some gunfire, some machine gun fire. It's pretty rapid. Sounds like it's from a mounted gun on a Humvee coming from the northeast behind you.
all right, head that way and support whatever's happening there. Looks like we're being ambushed there, so head that way and reinforce. On foot.
On foot? Okay.
Yeah, it's
Leave
pretty
your
close behind, or is it pretty far?
hard to gauge.
Alright, then go by vehicle.
Okay.
Yeah, take the vehicles. Yeah.
So all 3 officers in their vehicles.
Yep, let's support whatever the hell's going on if we can.
Okay, got it.
All right. All right, so it looks like we have some action to our rear. Again, proper guerrilla warfare. We are going to do some fighting this way. So now we're going to fight in that direction. We don't know exactly where, but hopefully, if we arrive in a timely fashion, we can make a difference. We cannot move forward, so we don't want to just sit here. All right, and the guy we're going to bail out or help here is asking if he should flee or fight. Well, if you flee, you die. we're being asked about the scenarios. So this is our April Fool's game. We play an April Fool's game on the Saturday closest to April 1st every year. Is sort of a tradition. Oh,
All right. So the police pull a U-turn in their vehicles, speed back up the road to help the military in the rear. By the time they arrive, it's already quiet. You can see. It looks like one of the gunner and that was sitting at the top of the Humvee was killed. Everyone else is okay, but the apes seem to have fled and are nowhere in sight again. You guys are co-located, so you. And then I'll get orders after you have a chance.
Okay.
All right, so it looks like you repulse the enemy.
Yep. I did.
Okay. All right, then we're going to continue moving to the front so that we can scout, which is our purpose. Good job
Okay, okay.
repulsing the enemy.
Thanks.
Okay, James, we're
Got
gonna.
your orders.
Yeah, we're gonna continue back to the front now. That's as
And AI,
we
you're
can.
going as well.
Yep.
Okay, got it.
All right. Did they have guns?
No, only mounted horses with spears.
Okay. If they come back, also shoot the horses, I think.
I will, yep.
Okay, and to answer the questions on the YouTube, yes, this is a Planet of the Apes. We were told it was a guerrilla warfare scenario. Only to get here and find out it really was guerrilla warfare, but different spelling, obviously. So, yes, this is our April Fool's game. We are in the Muir Woods, northwest of San Francisco, in real life, and we are trying to clear the apes out of the woods. Very hard to do. Hopefully, though, we've inflicted more casualties on them than they on us. So, if I were to create a headquarters, where would I put it? Around here for sure. I think if I had a headquarters at the top of Old Mine Trail there at the top of that hill, and Rock Spring is where I would put it.
Yeah.
Either of those places. That ought to be where we go next.
Sure, yep.
Anyway, I'll talk to the commander and we'll make a decision. But I'll advise
Okay, that's
him.
fine.
Yeah. Okay. I hope AI did not interpret that as orders. He was the AI, just so you know, was the player that was just in here with me. That's his little YouTube handle, AI. So don't want people to be confused and think we're playing with AI. Which, by the way, we have a video on our YouTube where I played Kriegsspiel against ChatGPT. That was an interesting event. Here we are. Let's see here. Looks like we're moving forward, so hopefully.
All right, Police Chief Scott, you do another U-turn, head back up the road, becoming very familiar to you now. Once again, you're stopped by the military, the APC up ahead. You can hear them firing mortar rounds somewhere to the southeast, towards that hill, and really no other sounds of combat anywhere.
Okay.
You can move up and co-locate with Coleman and Smiley.
Briefly, yes, I'll do it. I don't like tea parties, but we kind of got to coordinate.
We'll do that next turn. Any other orders?
No, just keep moving forward as far as we can and then wait for the way to be cleared. I really have to coordinate so we know which way we're going.
Yep, okay.
All right, so any of these heights around here strike me as possible enemy headquarter locations. Like right here. It would be good to clear those locations. I don't think Trojan Point would be one just because it's kind of out of the way. Here you've kind of got a nexus. Here you kind of can go either way and direct what's down below. So I would think that up here where everything gets real busy would be where they would be operating in general. So I see this whole area up here as the center of their operations. That's my sense of it. And that is what we need to clear. Because down to the south, there's just nothing. So why would they operate there? Now, in real life, there's a lot of little trails and such, but it's also more open in real life. So we are cleared to go back and resume our place at the head of column, but we do need to confer and determine which way to move. All right, we should be back with our fellow commanders in just a moment. And we'll have a very interesting conversation in about 1 minute here, I think.
You both are on the highway. You can see Coleman's Vigilantes going eastwards in the hills, searching for apes. Your rifle squad is on the southeast trail, kind of just scouting ahead, and your APC has taken defensive position on the intersection of Pantol Road, kind of looking around. Mortar squads are ready as well.
Since I mean these aren't like giant regiments, but like big pieces representing like very small amounts of people. Could we have them all like kind of collapse in around Pontool just so there's like no confusion later with like they can all fit into campgrounds here, I think. Right?
You might have to ask James for that.
Question.
All the guys that we have on the highway now, they can like come into Pontool, right? And like I mean the pieces might overlap a little, but I mean like I'm looking at the campgrounds on like Google Maps, for example, and like it's fairly open here. I think they would all be able to fit.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, guys. I have a feeling that if the enemy has a headquarters, there's about 4 different locations. I think this is the nexus of their operations. I think at the top of Old Mine Trail or at Rock Spring or to the south, there's a hill uh, south of Deer Park Fire Road and north of Dipsea Trail. And then on top of this Pantol uh, here, I don't know, it's covered by the map symbols that with an arrow pointing to where we're at, but that's also a height. And that could be where they have some sort of a headquarters. Whatever they have, it's in that area. So I think if we were to draw a perimeter from Rock Spring to Mountain Theater, then down to Pantol Hill, which we'll call it for lack of a better term, then down to Dipsea Trail and back up again. I bet you their headquarters, their center of operations is there. Um, I don't know what you want to do, but I would propose we go north or south first together and eliminate those 4 or 5 possibilities. Because if we hit their center of operations, we destroy them and we win. If we continue the way that we're going, though, they're just going to bleed us out. So
I actually was going to say something similar. I think it's most likely they're in the south because that's where we've seen the most of them come from so far. Like you were talking about, like, oh, they hit you from the south, and then when we arrived in Pantol, you got hit again by 3 units coming up from the south. Luckily, like I was there, so they just immediately got like completely blown out, and they retreated. So yeah, I think that maybe even what is it? It's like I can't really get a too good of a look at the elevation. I think there's also kind of a ridge around the TCC trail. I could be wrong.
yes,
They might be over there too. So like I think that yeah, we could have some vigilantes covering TCC trail with a rifleman, and then the APC and the police can go down Deer Park Road, and clear that area out.
All right. All right, so we'll start heading down Deer Park Fire Road,
Mhm.
all the way. I think how far do you want us to go? To the Bend or to Cardiac Hill?
Um,
Because there's that hill.
I would
up
say
there.
Cardiac Hill. Yeah, I think Cardiac Hill, and we're gonna try and get some. You'll get the vigilantes and the police actually up onto that peak there, so they can get a look around and see if they see any obvious, like, oh, there's a bunch of apes over there, right? We can see where they are, maybe.
Right. So I'll send a couple officers up to the top of that hill.
Well, let's
And
wait.
then-
Let's wait. Actually, I want to make sure that we have everybody start moving at once. I don't want to spread out. Like, rushing and stretching our forces out is how the apes are going to bleed us out. We need to be very methodical and need to wait and make sure we're ready to launch everything in unison. Coordination and force concentration are going to be the name of the game, right? So let's make sure that everybody can actually start this turn. I don't want to send police down before I can send a Humvee after them, right? I want you to be going with some Humvees or the APC from the very start.
Right. Okay. Now I think.
So what are your orders?
Yeah. Go ahead.
What are your orders?
I think. my
With the
order-
Humvee and the, oh, sorry, you can go.
No, go ahead. You give the orders first. I'll follow, please.
Would we be able to get the Humvee in the back to catch up and start escorting the police down Deer Park Fire Road this turn? James?
Yes. So Humvee take the lead, then the officers follow.
Yeah, we're gonna have one of the riflemen with the Humvee that AI is attached to. He'll take one of the Humvees and the rifleman inside to escort all the police and their vehicles down Deer Park Road. Is that okay with you, Scott? You can coordinate with AI.
Yeah, and I just want to put something up on top of that hill, that first hill between Dipsy Trail and Deer Park Road.
Mhm.
So do I have your permission to go ahead and do that?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, head down for Cardiac Hill.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, first I think we need to clear that hill, that higher one, and then move
Which one?
to
The one that's to the left of the Deer Park Road?
yes.
Oh yeah. Sorry, that's what I meant by Cardiac Hill. Yeah.
Okay.
Head down there.
Perfect. All right, that's where we're gonna go.
Right.
You see that hill, James? Where it says road, Deer Park Fire Road, the word road. There's a
Mhm.
height there. So we want to go there at about 1450 elevation.
Got it.
Your mortar squad, Smiley, do they stay put? Go back in the striker?
Sorry, 1 second. Let me take a look at my screenshot just one more time.
Yep.
They're gonna stay here for now with the riflemen I still have on. Yeah, they're gonna stay here. The riflemen are going to move up to try and catch up with the vigilantes on the trail.
Yep.
Yeah, and then when the other Humvee gets here, that's with AI. The one that's not going down, I'm gonna have him stay here with me.
Copy.
Send the APC down with the police too. Actually, the APC and a Humvee. The mortars are staying here.
Okay. And you with the striker, you stay with the mortars?
Yeah, I'll stay here with the mortars and the
Mortars.
last Humvee and rifleman.
Copy.
All right, thank you. All right, I'll go ahead and separate down to voice 5. Good luck.
All right, good luck. All right, yeah, we're going to go down and sweep that hill. Of course, if they have any kind of a significant force at the top of that hill, we're not going to survive it, but at least we'll know.
All right, Police Chief Scott. So as you coordinated with Major Smiley, the Humvee has taken the lead in front of the column now, leading the police force up the hill. It's a dirt road, fire road, not very wide, not very even. So the going's a bit slower than it was on the paved road. Your Humvee is equal to the challenge, no issue. Patrol cars having a little bit more problem, but they're keeping up. But you're, going 20 miles per hour, 20, 30 miles per hour up the road. Yeah, you're getting close to the top of the hill to the south. No contact or anything so far.
Okay. All right. Yep. Thank you. Continue.
So you're gonna get to the topmost part of the road, then get off and climb up the hill, or what's the plan?
Yeah, we'll all go on foot. We'll just leave a couple guys with the Humvee, but the remaining four of us, including myself, will go up the hill.
See what you can see.
Yep.
All right. Got it. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, right here. So I suspect they have some sort of a headquarters or here, but man.
All right. So you drive up a little ways further, park the vehicles. You move up with a couple of your officers, trudging up to the top of the hill. When you get up there, of course, the trees are still blocking a lot, but you have a much better view than you did before. And as you look around, mostly, you can see down to the creek and the highway to the west. You can see down to the east. It looks like there's another roadblock to the east on the road there. And while you're looking, you can hear gunfire coming from the north, and can even see flashes of tracers coming from maybe vigilantes not too far away to the northeast.
Okay. So we'll hold here. I'm going to report back and I'll continue.
Your sound is crazy messed up. I don't know what changed. I can't understand.
Okay.
It's like it's getting all jumbled.
Charging battery.
It might be better. Try now.
Testing. going to charge.
It's like it's a digital issue. Because I can hear the keyboard clacking fine. I don't know why it's getting jumbled up. If you need to, put orders in your text channel. I don't know why it's being funky.
Mic off.
I don't need to charge. Okay. I don't know if you can hear me. Yeah, just if you can type. Yeah, just type in your channel. I'll go with what you write.
Charge complete. Mic on.
Testing, testing. Testing, testing, can you hear me? Testing, testing, can you hear me?
Hello?
Can you hear me? Testing, testing.
I can't hear you. It's very broken up.
Mic off. Mic on.
Testing, testing. Testing, testing.
You still sound like a robot.
Thank you.
Mic off. Charging battery. Charge complete.
All right, Police Chief Marshal. So, you continue to survey the surrounding countryside from atop the mountain. As you watch the roads and hills, you actually manage to spy some, you may even have some binoculars on you. You notice some apes, not a large group, but small groups of apes moving along the trail northward to your northwest. And then there's another group milling about near the roadblock to the southeast.
Mic on.
In the meantime, you hear lots and lots of gunfire to the north, including mortar fire now. Sound of fighting has increased in intensity, and lots of hooting and bellowing from monkey ape sounds as well. I will look to your channel for your orders.
Okay, can you hear me? Yeah.
Yeah, you're still jumbled. I'll just, I'll wait for you to type, see if you have any questions. Hold position. Okay, got it. Makes it easy.
Testing. Testing. Testing.
I'm sorry, still can't hear you. You're gonna have to type in planning.
Charge complete. Mic off. Charge complete.
All right, Police Chief Scott, you maintain position on top of the hill. Sounds of battle north continue. Lots of chatter on the radio. From your point of view around you, not too much has changed. That's about it. I will look for your orders in your channel. Got it. Thank you. All right, police chief. That's the sounds of battle continue to the north. Heavy percussions of mortar rounds and the constant fire of machine guns and rifles. Around the
Mic
hill that
on.
you're on, not too much has changed. You can see the military's moved up back north, and they're engaged in, up there. Still can't hear you or understand. I can hear you. I can't understand you. Okay. Got it.
Mic off.
All right, Police Chief Scott. So, pretty much the same. Lots of fighting to the north. The radio chatter, especially from the vigilantes and the military. You can still see some apes near the roadblock to the southeast, but it's all quiet on your side. Welcome everyone. I hope you all had fun. This was a very enjoyable game for me, but different from the normal fare, but it was fun. I enjoyed it. So what we'll do, for those unfamiliar with my live games, we'll let the CICs comment before they see the map. Then the umpires will take a turn talking about their perspectives while showing the whole map, and then each player will have a chance to kind of share their game perspective and then thoughts now that everything's been revealed. So before we reveal everything, let's talk first to Caesar. How do you think you're doing, Caesar?
I think we're doing quite well, to be honest. The initial ambush went very well, and then I think if we won, it's probably because the humans took the wrong road effectively, and they appear to be going south, whereas our base is in that direction. So yeah, we seem to have a lot of our forces still intact. Our attacks seem to have generally gone quite well, hitting the flanks. We've used our numbers kind of to our advantage, and I feel like we've eliminated a large number of troops by basically just finding weak points and attacking them. And yeah, that's kind of all I really feel like I need to say. But my team's done really, really well, and I think everyone's commanded their forces really appropriately and effectively. And I've just very much enjoyed the game so far, to be honest.
Now the humans, they didn't have one CIC, so it's a bit split, but I think I'll pick on Smiley to say how he thinks they're doing. Major Smiley.
I think it really depends on this final turn here. We did take a couple losses and a couple ambushes, but we've also really ripped through a lot of these monkeys in the past couple turns. I'm watching a lot of guerrilla units get shredded down. The armed apes just got stonewalled by the APC. It all depends on if the police and AI were able to get their forces down to the southern flank of my borders like I asked them to, but it may have been too late for the orders. So I guess it all depends on this turn, yeah.
Let me share my screen. So first of all, I will say both sides played very intelligently. I was very impressed by both sides. So and their decisions and what they did. So the humans, they were in 3 different groups, no specific CIC, which made command control a little bit different. They did have a radio, so they could talk to each other continuously. They all came up together on this one road, which I thought was smart. They put the police in the front to kind of launch or to spur any ambushes, and the police were smart to stay spread out. So as they came down the road, of course, they ran into the roadblock here, which was smart to put on the ape side because it was enough to slow them down. They had scouts sitting there, so they basically got word out that the main column was coming that way, so that the apes knew what was coming and where. And then they had another roadblock here, and basically the main ambush coming on this road. This is where most of the fighting was. And so that initial ambush was quite successful, but because the police had wisely spread out, they captured 3 police vehicles and took out 2 officer units, but the rest were able to escape. So it wasn't too deadly of an ambush, really. So the humans kind of regrouped, came back here, and then came back down again. The guerrillas also regrouped, or not the guerrillas, the apes, and bided their time. They did a good job, not just attacking, but kind of waiting for good opportunities. Urko pulled all the way back here with the vigilantes trying to figure out where he was, but neither saw each other. And then, of course, we had the big fight here at the end. So Kubo was all over the place with his was all over with his mounted cavalry. So he took out the vigilante trucks, slashed their tires, and ended up attacking here. And then now he's moving around and he's about to take out the vigilantes, the last of them. The rest of the guerrillas did a lot of work, but they're getting mowed down, taking on the military. So this last turn, another unit of guerrillas died to the mortar fire and Humvee rifle squad fire. So there's one group of guerrillas left about to take out this rifle squad. But we still have the mortar squad and this rifle squad and the APC are in good health. As you can see, the guerrillas still have one more army in reserve. And so I think if I had, and the police are in the south also in reserve. So if I had to make predictions for what would happen, the mounted cavalry about to charge, take out the vigilantes, they take out this rifle squad and probably start rolling up this flank here. The police, I think, were ordered to move up north and they'd be protecting that flank, so there'd be a fairly even fight between these two. This northern attack from the guerrillas is basically done once these guerrillas are gone, which they're about to be. But over here we're fresh, so fairly even in the west, and I can't predict who would win that fight, because obviously the military have the firepower advantage. Guerrillas have, or the apes have the numbers. But either way, I don't think the humans are going to find the ape home today, so it's a kind of a Pyrrhic victory for Caesar. A lot of losses on his side, but he stopped the humans from eradicating the new ape race. And so minor victory for the apes, but very well played on both sides. As I said, very smart decisions made. I think everyone did a really good job. So we'll let each umpire share kind of their perspective for who they umpired, and then the players have a chance. So I'm going to, let's see, Atewe, you're up.
Yes, I was the umpire for Luca. Of course, the initial ambush went rather well for Luca. No real losses, managed to take out some policemen. And then at the end, he did, after some pulling back and positioning, he did have a pretty successful attack, kind of wiping out the, what's it called, the vigilantes that were about here in the road, somewhere here.
Oh yeah, the vigilantes are dead in KV.
Yeah, they're dead. They're gone. Unfortunately, he is down to a single unit of about, like, what is it, half health Guerrilla, so he is, less than that. So he's probably out the fight now. All his other units are already dead. And that's it for me.
Thank you. Let's see, who else? Joseph Little.
Yep. So I had the military. I thought it was interesting, not sending the military first, given their higher firepower and defense. But alas, a little bit of miscommunication and a little bit of kind of, let's say, traffic jam issues and misordering based on timings. But once they got set up here in this middle, they're kind of just mowing down guerrillas left and right. I think the west looks quite strong. The north just got caught out and vigilantes being ambushed. But I think, I think the military could have used more of its firepower to be more effective in this firefight. I think if it was in a better position and had more opportunities to shoot, it could kill more apes.
All right.
That's much it.
Nemo.
Hello, I was the umpire for the Vigilantes, which was KB, Dogpilot, and Coleman. Um, they were stationed initially in the convoy right in the middle, which, I'm just a new umpire, so I might have a shallow insight, but I think it put them in a really weird spot, especially when the police got attacked during the initial ambush. They essentially just had to get out of their trucks, put them on the side of the road, and then made good use of the trails in order to bypass the roadblocks. But because of how fast the battle was going, by the time the vigilantes got into position to try to make a difference, the guerrillas and the apes essentially already pulled away before they could effect anything. It wasn't really until the next phase of the general combat that the vigilantes were able to start getting to fight. But because for the most part they were separated, it really strung out Dogpilot and KD at the back of the column, who bravely did their best to hold the rear. And I think, that's it from me.
Yeah, I really appreciate all the people who umpired, especially those who did for the first time. Devastated?
Yes, so I was the umpire for Caesar and Urko, and then I took also Morris. So that's basically the whole Apes force that's left. Morris was a reserve force. Urko had some initial fighting, and that was quite interesting to see. And then he was ordered to pull back. That was quite interesting to see the apes moving all around to come back to where they are now. Same for Morris, that also did this kind of loop around to come back and attack. It was quite fun to see these. I don't know how the human player felt this pressure of not knowing where the apes were, but I hope it was present and enjoyable to play in that scenario, and that's for me.
We really wanted a good guerrilla scenario, not the animal, the fighter, and I think we got it. So, umpire Mitch, last umpire.
Yep, so I was umpiring Maurice a little bit in the beginning and then Koba for the rest of the battle. This was my first time live umpiring, so it was a nice and fun battle and an experience to do for the first time. So that was very nice. I think Koba did a very good job with moving north and supporting the rest of the apes early on after seeing basically no sign of the humans in the south. And then for the rest of the battle, just trying to sort of outmaneuver and reposition yourself into a good place to charge, which is kind of nice to see for a cavalry officer, because usually in these games they just charge the first thing they see. So that was very well done. And there seemed to be a lot of good dispatch writing and communication between all the apes anyway. So very well played. And this was a very fun game. So thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, let's hear from the players. I want to hear, what you learned, what you might do different, any especially fun or particularly noticeable instances, and then for the humans were more surprised than the apes. The apes I gave a couple days notice, but how you liked your ape of full surprise. So let's start with AI, one of the military commanders.
Okay, so what I did wrong was probably splitting up my forces. It took a bit of time to regroup them, and then it also took time to catch up with the others.
Yeah. Okay.
That's it, yep.
Anything else?
Nope.
Okay. We'll hear some more from Caesar, some more insights.
Yeah, sure. So, the strategy in this game I basically went for was I knew there was going to be a massive technological disadvantage. So, our sole goal really was to constantly harass and take advantage of opportunities. So, obviously, the ambush was the main strategy. So, on the map, it's probably not as clear, but basically, we prepared a series of ambush possibilities at different points throughout the map, and created obstructions and all kinds of things. So the strategy I thought was quite effective. And when we found out that you were coming to the north, we then obviously set up ourselves for a big ambush against your front of your forces. Obviously, you were very smart in spreading out your forces, because that the ambush was probably the obvious thing to do. We then I made the decision that it wouldn't make any sense to try and once you guys have been ambushed, obviously you would just all get out your trucks and start advancing on foot. So basically we just knew if we stood in front of you, we were just going to get mowed down. And then when the mortars started coming in, I suddenly thought to myself, well, they don't know that we're not in front. They don't know what's in front of them. And they've just seen this big ambush and fought it. So they're probably going to just assume we're in front of in front of them. But actually, we are best employed using our forces to maximize them against your flanks. So I basically split the army clean in half, which normally would be a kind of suicidal decision, but it worked out very well because we had really good commander control in our individual commanders were doing exactly what they needed to do and were keeping a really good contact. So then we were able to sort of repeatedly harass your forces on each side. And I think in large part, if we got a minor victory here, it's mostly on account of you guys going down the wrong road effectively. But I thought the whole plan worked out really well, and these sort of hit and run strategies of being an insurgent or a guerrilla, I suppose, worked out quite well. And it was fun to do something quite different in how you do a Kriegsspiel in this style. And I think my team did really fantastically. So well done to everybody involved.
They did a good job as CIC and planning. Coleman, Vigilantes.
Yeah, so I was the commander of the Vigilantes. And I will agree that the being in the middle was sort of weird, especially as the police hit roadblocks sort of had to make a decision whether to dismount or just wait until they cleared it. I do feel bad. I sent KB with like I think 2/3 of my units up onto the hill that someone mentioned. They didn't see the apes, and the apes didn't see them. And so I will say though that as they were returning east, even though they were completely destroyed, I think they fulfilled a very crucial function of warning that there were units behind or to the northeast of the Pantal campground, which we were not aware of up to that point. And that allowed the army units to reorient and also allowed time for the police to start getting back north. Towards the end, my last update was that I heard the cavalry, so I had ordered my unit to sort of prepare for them, so hopefully they would have fulfilled basically the same function as KB did, which is delay maybe 20 minutes and allow the army to react, which is a very bloody way of looking at it, but still the army was our heavy hitters, obviously, so if they could orient to inflict damage, they were definitely doing so. So, all in all, I think as the vigilantes, they did like we did well. Just KB getting ambushed really put a sour taste in it.
Okay, Koba.
Yeah, it was fun. Thanks to all the other players and the umpires. I definitely think that Napoleon made a mistake in not recruiting ape forest cavalry because they're very useful. The overall, I wasn't always sure how to use them best in the actual attack, given that on one hand, cavalry moving through the forest is awkward. On the other hand, moving through the open against superior firepower is also awkward. But I'm glad they were able to help out in that ambush of the northern group of vigilantes. And yeah, given the situation now, I don't know what exactly I would have done, but quite possibly tried to, hit the head north, possibly tried to pull out again and just keep being a presence to harass the enemy. I guess it would depend how useful that was on whether the sort of on the left or on the west of the current fight, whether that was committed or whether the apes pulled back again over there too. But yeah, overall, definitely an interesting scenario.
Luca.
Very fun scenario for first time player. Like literally my first time playing this. As I saw that one YouTube video. I think we could have waited a bit longer for the initial ambush because I was expecting Caesar to let them like pass a bit more before engaging, but since Caesar engaged, I thought, oh, all right, we're doing it. So I just full send. And it's unfortunate all my guerrillas are dead now. In this last engagement, but well.
All right, well done for your first game. Maurice?
Mouthful of food over here. Thank you. So yeah, I was Maurice of the Apes. I started out kind of south of where those big swirling battles going on, near that really tall hill. That's 1400 height. I spent most of the battle in reserve. I got to pick a couple of fights here and there. Ultimately, I was ordered to move around to the northwest to try to make a flank or rear attack. Now that I'm seeing this situation, I feel like it would have been really interesting if I had stayed in reserve in the position that I was in near that hill, and waited for the enemy troops to kind of get out of position and then attack from the south. Could have been an interesting potential outcome, or maybe more useful position because we have a lot of troops in the northwest that are a little bunched up. Anyway, CIC did a very nice job, well briefed, very clear. Very good work from the umpires. It was a lot of fun
playing the apes and experiencing their invisibility and all that good stuff was a lot of fun. So great game. Thank you.
Major Smiley.
So yeah, I mean, it was definitely a very funny scenario. You know, I had a bit of a smile when I heard that, you know, we're doing guerrilla warfare, not guerrilla warfare. Thought it was a really funny idea. Enjoyed the scenario. I may have been a bit overly cautious as the military. We sent the police ahead because, you know, it seemed like they would be the best served as, like, you know, light scout units. And you know, whenever I start a new kind of system like this, I'm always kind of unsure how units are going to match up against each other. And while I could assume that, you know, the military would be effective against apes, obviously, I didn't want to risk having them at the very front get wiped out instantly, and we basically lost the game there because I wasn't sure how they would, you know, work in the ambush, right? So if I played this again, I'll probably play it a bit differently. There were also, like, I think the biggest issue on our part was kind of unsure about where units could stack up with each other because they take up much less room on the map than their pieces do, and so I've been trying to get everybody to come into the pant hole. I guess there was like a miscommunication with it where it wasn't possible because we kind of extended out further into the road than I would have liked. My intention was, you know, to have like a very well defended area in pant hole that we could then start, you know, sending, you know, small scouting parties out kind of radially from there and then return to pant hole. But unfortunately, we had the vigilantes exposed and they paid the price for it. But I do think that the military in the end really pulled its weight here. You know, ripping and tearing through hordes of apes. And yeah, I enjoyed the players. My team did very well, I think. It was a bit awkward, the small amount of units with a large amount of players. Like, there were times where I wasn't really sure what to let the other military player do because, you know, we only had like 4 units really, right? And yeah, thank you for running it, James, and all the other umpires, especially the first time ones.
So Police Chief Scott's got mic issues. So he's just wondering where the ape base was, which is right here, this red pond marker. Hidden in a valley on a stream. All right, last player to hear from is Urko.
It was a good game, thanks. Didn't really do much complex stuff myself, sort of did the initial ape ambush and then went away to guard a flank attack that never really happened. But I enjoyed it. Thanks.
All right, so I'm gonna stop the recording here. You guys are welcome to hang out and keep talking in a less formal way. But thanks everyone for joining. I enjoyed it. I'm glad you did too. See y'all.